Today I'm going to talk about the meeting between President Biden and President Xi, the shooting at the University of Virginia, the court blocking of Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, and also Jay Leno's hospitalization. I'm Michele Carroll. Welcome to the News Diet, where I give you to-the-point news Monday through Thursday. President Biden and Chinese President Xi yesterday had their first in-person meeting since Biden took office. Their 3-hour meeting was held in Bali, Indonesia, on the sidelines of the G20 summit, and comes at a time of rising tensions between the U.S. and China. The last few years, the leaders have been dealing with disagreements regarding technological competition, human rights, and geopolitical issues, including ongoing concerns surrounding North Korea and Taiwan. Both countries are major world powers with very different regimes and cultures, so it's an incredibly sensitive relationship to maintain. This meeting was seen as a way to cool the tensions a bit, and from the sounds of it, things went okay. Apparently, no major developments were made, but Biden did come out of the meeting saying, quote, "Do I believe he's willing to compromise on certain issues? Yes." And a spokesperson to Xi described the meeting as, quote, "in-depth, candid, and constructive." Biden and Xi spent a lot of time together back when they were both vice presidents over a decade ago, and even referenced their history before the meeting started. And both world leaders recently secured political power, with the midterms ending here in the U.S., with Democrats coming out much better than anticipated, and with Xi securing a historic third term, which I talked about a couple weeks ago. The two men touched on several hot-button topics. They reportedly discussed the recent semiconductor export ban from the U.S. to China, which directly hinders China's technological advancements in military modernization and artificial intelligence, human rights issues in Xinjiang, Tibet, and Hong Kong, which China insists should be left alone as internal affairs, climate change, where the two seem to lay the groundwork for future communications, and then also the situation around Taiwan, which has captured the eyes of nations around the world, with some wondering if China's going to take military action in its ongoing attempt to claim it as its own. A foreign ministry spokesperson who joined Xi in the meeting said that he considers the issue of Taiwan as, quote, "the first red line that must not be crossed in China-U.S. relations." Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi caused a very public rift back in August with an unexpected trip to Taiwan that triggered Chinese condemnation. And just this week, reports are coming out about congressional efforts to send aid to Taiwan in hopes of preparing them now should any attack occur. According to the White House, another topic touched on was the Russia-Ukraine conflict. China has tried to remain somewhat neutral throughout the fighting, but still continues to strike deals with Putin, while the U.S. has imposed strict sanctions. One thing they were able to agree on yesterday, though, was an anti-nuclear weapons stance. With that said, the Chinese readout of the meeting apparently didn't mention this part of the conversation. So even though no concrete revelations came out of that meeting, it is being seen as a possible cooling of tensions. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is said to be visiting China early next year to continue the conversation. Before moving on to the next story, I just want to ask if you can hit that subscribe button so you can continue to get notifications on new episodes and follow along as the News Diet grows. Yesterday, police arrested the suspect of Sunday's University of Virginia shooting that resulted in 3 deaths and 2 injuries. Those who died were all members of the school's football team, and the suspect was the former player on the team back in 2018. But the motivation and any connections are still unknown. The attack took place in the evening on a charter bus that was returning from a class field trip to a play in Washington, D.C. The shooting prompted a university-wide shelter-in-place order for 12 hours until the suspect was in custody after being found 80 miles east of Charlottesville, where the campus is located. He faces 3 charges of second-degree murder and 3 counts of using a handgun while committing a felony. President Biden's student loan cancellation plan has been blocked indefinitely. A federal appeals court ruled on the program yesterday, which had already been paused by a separate court ruling. The pushback on the forgiveness plan was brought by 6 conservative-led states: Nebraska, Missouri, Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, and South Carolina. These states claim that the plan to forgive student loans nationwide would affect the states negatively by losing out on that tax revenue. I'll link my past episode on this topic in the description, but essentially, Biden's plan was to forgive up to $20,000 in federal student loan debt for borrowers making under $125,000 a year. The Congressional Budget Office estimated that this plan would cost about $400 billion over 30 years. The main issue seems to be with how it was implemented, which was through an executive order by President Biden as opposed to going through the process of congressional approval. Opponents see this program as a big overreach by the president. Supporters, including the White House, claim that this plan falls under the HEROES Act, the Higher Education Relief Opportunities for Students Act, which allows for the forgiveness of student loans during periods of hardship for the country, like during a war or national emergency. Both Biden and Trump invoked this act to pause student loan payments throughout the pandemic. It was originally put in place in March of 2020 as businesses shut down and has been extended numerous times since then. The pause in payments is set to end at the end of December, and Biden did previously claim that no other extension would be given. Since the loan forgiveness applications became available in mid-October, over 26 million people have applied, where over 16 million people have already been approved before they stopped accepting pending the suits. The administration has expressed plans to appeal this decision, but regardless of how this goes, an ultimate decision isn't likely to emerge for weeks, if not months. Comedian Jay Leno was hospitalized over the weekend after sustaining serious burns to his face after a car erupted into flames in his garage. He's reportedly fine and did release a statement saying, quote, "I got some serious burns from a gasoline fire. I am okay, just need a week or two to get back on my feet." Leno is a huge car enthusiast, owning a collection of more than 180 cars, most of them high-end, and also 160 motorcycles. He also has a YouTube channel called Jay Leno's Garage that has close to 3.5 million followers. You've just been informed, so now it's time to get on with your day. I'm Michele Carroll. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode and want to continue following a healthier alternative for staying informed, where I forgo partisan fighting and fear-driven narratives and just get to the point, then please be sure to hit that subscribe button, as of course you'll get more of this show in your feed, and also you'll be helping this new channel grow and reject sensational media. Thank you so much for your support, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.